The reunion dinner was filled with laughter and warmth. Jack to you, Tien, and her father cherished every happy moment together. Jack's mother Beloy also shared in their joy witnessing to you. Tien reunite with her birth father after so many years apart. As the meal came to an end, Beloy gently placed her napkin on the table. I'm truly happy to have witnessed such a meaningful reunion today. But I have to head home early to take care of a few things. Jack makes sure to stay and help Tien take care of her father, okay? Yes, Mom. Don't worry, Jack replied. Tien bowed her head in gratitude. Thank you so much for coming. Please take care on your way home. Beloy nodded, her kind eyes lingering on to you. Tien and her father one last time before leaving. Jack walked her to the car, giving her a few reminders before returning inside. Now with only the three of them left in the small house, Tien began clearing the table, while Jack and her father sat in the living room, chatting. Suddenly, her father raised up hand to his temple, his face turning pale. Dad, what's wrong to you? Tien's voice trembled with panic as she saw him lean back in his chair, his hands shaking as he gripped the armrest. Jack immediately rushed over to support him. You should lie down. It looks like your blood pressure is acting up again, he said, his voice calm but full of concern. Tien stood frozen, her eyes welling up with tears. Dad, don't scare me like this. Without hesitation, Jack helped him into the bedroom, carefully laying him down and adjusting the pillows for comfort. We should take you to the hospital right away, Jack said, his expression serious. However, Tien's father weakly shook his head, his voice staying yet firm. There's no need, Jack. This has happened before, I just need some rest. But Jack started to protest. But seeing the determination in his eyes, he hesitated and fell silent. Tien sat down by the bedside, gripping her father's hand tightly. Are you really okay, Dad? I'm so scared. I'm fine. My dear, it's just high blood pressure. A little rest and I'll be all right. Don't worry too much, he reassured her, forcing a weak smile despite his exhaustion. I'll make you some porridge you need to eat, something to regain your strength, Tien said, her voice still filled with worrying. Without waiting for his response, she quickly stood up and hurried to the kitchen. Meanwhile, Jack remained by the bedside, his eyes filled with concern, though his voice remained gentle. Please rest, sir. If anything feels wrong, I won't hesitate to take you to the hospital. Tien's father nodded, looking at Jack with deep appreciation. You're a good man, always looking after Tien. It puts my heart at ease, knowing she has you by her side. Jack smiled, placing a reassuring hand on his shoulder. I'll take care of both of you. Just focus on getting better. A while later, the comforting room of porch filled the house. Tien carefully carried a bowl to her father, moving cautiously as her hands were still slightly trembling. Dad, please have some. It'll warm you up, she said softly, though her eyes still held traces of worrying. She carefully blew on each spoonful to cool it before bringing it to his lips. Her father took small bites, his gaze filled with emotion as he looked at his daughter. After all these years apart, having you take care of me like this makes me feel truly content, he murmured, his voice weak but full of love. You have to stay strong, Dad. You have to be with me for a long time, okay? Tien choked up, tears rolling down her cheeks. Jack stood silently beside them, watching the heartfelt moment unfold. His heart swelled with warmth and affection. as he witnessed their deep bond. Gently, he placed a comforting hand onto Tien's shoulder, silently assuring her, "I'm here for you." In the quiet farmhouse, this deeply emotional moment became a precious memory, a testament to love, family, and an unbreakable connection. The next morning, as gentle sunlight filtered through the curtains, the farm remained as peaceful as ever. However, inside the small room, an air of worrying filled the space. Tien's father lay in bed, his complexion no longer as healthy as the night before. He struggled to sit up but felt dizzy, gripping the bed frame for support. "Dad, what's wrong?" Tien rushed over, holding him steady. "It's nothing, my dear. Just a bit of fatigue," he said, his voice noticeably weaker. Jack stood nearby, unable to hide his concern, as he observed the older man's condition. "Sir, I think you need to go to the hospital. We can't just ignore this." Tien held her father's hand tightly, her eyes bleeding dead. "Please, I don't want anything to happen to you. You can't keep making me worrying like this." Her father shook his head, trying to appear strong. "There's no need, I can handle it. It's not serious enough for a hospital visit. No, this time you have to go," Jack said firmly. He stepped closer, kneeling by the bed, his gaze sincere. "Please think about Tien. She has waited so long to have you by her side. I'm asking you, just let us take you for a checkup." Tien was on the verge of tears, clutching her father's arm. "Dad, please, I can't bear it if something happens to you. Let's go, okay?" Looking into his daughter's desperate eyes, an indescribable emotion welled up in his heart. Finally, he let out a soft sigh and nodded. "All right. Let's go." Jack quickly prepared the car while Tien helped. Her father put on a coat, seeing that he was too weak to walk on his own. Jack crouched down in front of the bed and turned his head back. "Sir, let me carry you to the car, don't worry." "There's no need, Jack. I can still walk." He hesitated, but Jack didn't budge. "I know you're strong, but please let me help. We're family," Jack said gently yet resolutely. Realizing Jack wouldn't take no for an answer, he finally agreed. Jack carefully lifted him onto his back. "Just hold on to my shoulders, sir. I've got you." Tien walked closely beside them, her eyes never leaving her father. "Jack, be careful." Jack gave her a reassuring smile. "Don't worry. I won't let him go through any more hardships." The three of them quickly set off for the hospital. In the car, Tien couldn't hide her anxiety. Every now and then she reached for her father's hand, her eyes red with tears. "Dad, you'll be okay. I believe you'll get better," she whispered, her voice trembling. Her father forced a weak smile, reaching out to gently pat her head, as he had when she was a child. "I know you're worried, but don't be scared. I still want to live long enough to see you happy." Upon arriving at the hospital, Jack once again carried him from the car to the examination area. His steps were strong, but inside his heart was heavy with worrying. Tien walked beside him, clutching his arm for comfort. When they reached the examination room, the doctor took one look at Tien's father and immediately ordered tests. "His condition is serious. We need to run further tests right away," the doctor said. Hearing those words, Tien nearly collapsed dead. "I'm so scared." Jack stood beside her, gripping her hand firmly. "It's going to be okay, I'm here. We'll get through this together. All right to you?" Tien nodded, tears streaming down her face. She turned to her father, her eyes filled with sorrow. Yet despite his condition, he remained calm as if trying to ease her fears. "Don't worry, my dear. I've overcome so many hardships already. This is nothing." His words became an invisible source of strength, helping Tien regain a bit of composure. Jack looked at the man before him with admiration. He knew that even though his body was weak, his love for his daughter was stronger than ever. The three of them, each carrying their own emotions, held on to a shared hope that he would overcome this and continue to stay beside the ones who loved him most. A tense atmosphere filled the examination room as the doctor returned, holding a stack of test results in his hands. His expression remained professional, but a hint of contemplation flickered in his eyes as he glanced at the two young people sitting beside the hospital bed. Tien's father had been moved to a hospital room after his blood samples were taken and his blood pressure was measured. He lay resting on the bed, his expression calm as if to reassure his daughter. However, Jack and Tien could not hide their worrying. "You are the patient's family, correct?" The doctor looked at Jack and Tien. Jack nodded and answered on Tien's behalf. "Yes, sir. I'm his daughter's boyfriend. This is Tien, his daughter. I was the one who brought him here." The doctor gave a slight nod before turning to Tien. "Can you tell me more about your father's condition? Has he often experienced symptoms like fatigue, dizziness, or unstable blood pressure?" Tien wiped her tears, her voice choked with emotion. "No, my father wasn't like this before. But he has worked tirelessly for years to make a living and search for me. His health has deteriorated a lot because of it. He never complains about being tired. He always just says I'm fine." The doctor was silent for a moment, then turned to Jack. "Do you know what kind of work he usually does? Is it physically demanding?" Jack nodded, his eyes filled with sympathy. "Yes. He told me he had to do a lot of heavy labor, working as a construction helper, taking on farm jobs, just to survive and search for Tien. I believe that's why his health has declined." The doctor let out a quiet sigh, his eyes showing deep understanding hearing your story. "I can't help but feel moved. A father like him must have endured so much to reunite with his daughter. However, the human body is not made of steel. When subjected to continuous, heavy labor without adequate rest, especially at an older age, the body gradually weakens." Hearing this, Tien could no longer hold back her tears. She broke down sobbing. "My father endured so much, all because of me. How can I ever forgive myself if something happens to him?" Jack gently took Tien's hand, his gaze firm yet tender. "Tien, don't blame yourself. We've found each other now. The most important thing is to do everything we can to help him recover." The doctor softened his expression as he flipped through the test results and explained gently, "Fortunately, his condition is not too severe. According to the test results, he is suffering from physical exhaustion due to prolonged overwork, combined with high blood pressure, which is common at his age. While it's not immediately dangerous, it requires proper treatment and rest. Otherwise, it could become more serious." Tien gripped her father's hand tightly, tears still falling. "Doctor, what should he do? I'll do anything to help him get better." The doctor gave a reassuring smile and spoke calmly. "For now, he needs complete rest. No heavy labor. His diet must be adjusted with reduced salt and fat intake. Prioritizing nutritious foods. I'll prescribe some medication to stabilize his blood pressure and strengthen his body if properly cared for. His health will improve quickly. Hearing this, Jack let out a relief sigh and turned to Tien with a smile. See, the doctor said, he'll be fine, we just need to take good care of him. Tien nodded slightly, but her tears did not stop. I'm just so worried. My father has worked so hard his whole life. Because of Amy, I don't want him to suffer anymore. Jack gently squeezed her hand, his gaze filled with comfort and love. I promise to be here for both you and him. We'll get through this together. Jack's words gave Tien newfound strength. She turned to the doctor and bowed slightly in gratitude. Thank you so much, doctor. I will follow all your instructions. The doctor smiled softly. Take good care of him with your love and support. I'm sure he will recover quickly. Tien's father lay on the bed, his body weak but his eyes filled with happiness. Seeing how much his daughter cared for him, he felt deeply comforted. I'll be fine, my dear, as long as you're happy. I feel stronger already. His words made Tien cry even more. She held his hand tightly, her heart overflowing with gratitude and determination. The road ahead would not be easy. But in this moment, the love and unity of their family became the greatest strength to help them overcome any hardship together. The doctor looked at the three people in front of him, his expression gently, yet maintaining the necessary seriousness. He spoke. Although his condition is not dangerous, I still recommend staying in the hospital for a week for monitoring and treatment. We need to stabilize his blood pressure and provide proper nutrition to help his body recover better. After that, he can continue treatment at home, following our guidance. Tien looked at her father worriedly. Dad, please stay for a few days, okay? You need rest and medical supervision. I don't want you to go through this again. The elderly man shook his head lightly, his voice weak but firm. I'm fine, Jen. Hi. Just want to go home and rest there. Staying in the hospital is expensive, and I don't want you to worrying about the cost. Hearing those words to you, Tien's eyes filled with tears again. She held her father's hand tightly, her voice trembling. Dad, please don't think about money anymore. I'm grown now. I can take care of it. I only want you to be healthy. Just stay for a few days, and let the doctors take care of you, okay? Jack, sitting beside them, also spoke up, his voice filled with persuasion. Uncle, health is the most important thing. Tien and I both want you to fully recover. So please let us handle everything. You just need to stay here and get better. I will take care of the rest. Tien's father remained silent for a moment, looking into his daughter's bleeding eyes and sensing Jack's sincerity. Finally, he let out a long sigh as if conceding, all right. Then I'll listen to you. But don't let it be too expensive, understand? Tien nodded repeatedly, tears rolling down her cheeks. Yes, Dad. Don't worry, I promise. Jack smiled slightly and patted the old man's shoulder. Don't worry, Uncle. Again. And I will take care of everything. You just need to rest and regain your strength. The doctor observed them and felt reassured. He nodded and added, we will do our best to take care of him. Don't worry too much, just trust the medical team here. Tien bowed her head in gratitude. Thank you so much, doctor, I truly appreciate it. Once all the hospital admission procedures were completed, Jack and Tien helped her father move to his hospital room. It was a small but clean room with a window overlooking a lush Green Garden. Jack gently helped him onto the bed. Wall to you. Tien quickly pulled up the blanket to keep him warm. How do you feel, Dad? Are you comfortable? Tien asked with concern. Her father nodded slightly and gave a weak smile. I feel fine, don't worry too much. I'll be okay. Jack stood beside them, watching the father and daughter with deep emotions. He could feel the immense love and sacrifices of a father for his daughter, as well as the worrying and devotion Tien had for her father Jan. Do you need me to get anything? Porridge, milk, or any essentials for Uncle? Jack asked gently. Tien looked at him and shook her head softly. You've done so much already. I just need you to be here with Dad. That's enough. Jack smiled and placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. All right, I'll always be here. Don't worry about anything. Sitting by the hospital bed, Tien held her father's hand. Her heart aching, she thought about the hardships her father had endured, the pain he had suffered just to find her. And now she had only one wish: to see him recover so they could make up for the lost years. Outside the window, the golden hues of the sunset bathed the room in a warm glow. Jack quietly drew the curtains to let her father rest peacefully. In his heart, a strong determination had formed. No matter what, he would take the best care of Tien's family, the woman he loved and great father, who had given everything for her that afternoon. The sky remained clear and blue, yet Tien's heart was filled with anxiety. With each step she and Jack took toward the church, it felt as though the weight of fear and hope intertwined, making every movement heavier. Jack, do you think Dad will be okay for you? Jen asked, her voice trembling slightly. Her eyes shimmered with unease, yet deep within them burned a flame of faith. Jack gently took her hand, giving it a reassuring squeeze. He will be okay, Tien. God watches over those who are kind and have sacrificed so much. We must place our trust in him. The church stood before them, towering as a symbol of shelter and peace. The old stone walls, the stained glass windows glistening in the sunlight. Everything exuded an indescribable sacredness as they stepped inside. Their footsteps were soft, as if afraid to disturb the solemn tranquility of the place inside. The flickering candlelight blended with the famed soothing scent of incense. Tien trembled slightly as she gazed at the statue of Christ on the altar, his compassionate eye seeming to pierce through the depths of her soul. She and Jack knelt down, their hands clasped together, eyes closed in absolute reverence. Her voice quivered barely above a whisper. Lord, please hear my prayer. I know I am not perfect, not worthy, but I beg for your mercy. My father has suffered too much, is everything to me, the one who sacrificed everything to find me. Please, Lord, grant him strength, keep him by my side. I need him. Tears fell onto her clasped hands, merging with the anguish and love she held for the father she had just reunited with. Beside her, Jack also bowed his head in prayer. His deep, steady voice resonated, blending with Tien's heartfelt plea.